In a time of fully automatic weapons and microwavable pizza, 5 young men were given the task of uncovering the history of the ancient Maori. In the years between the 9th and 13th centuries, 7 large canoes traveling from Polynesia, known as the Great Fleet, arrived on the coast of what is now called New Zealand. The Maori knew this land as Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. The Maori taught their youth by passing down stories and events orally to the future generation. The Maori religion was based on ancestor worship. They would often place a rock over a grave as a headstone, and they would regularly travel to these sites to pay respect to their ancestors. Almost all members of the Maori culture were decorated with moko. These were a form of tattoos that covered much of the face and chest. One of the Maori's most important traditions was a post-marriage activity, when the groom or one of his relatives challenges the father of the bride to a duel. They prepare to battle, but instead have a friendly embrace. The Maori hunted many different animals for sources of food. They fished for fish, snared birds, and hunted for sheep. Other jobs of the Maori included carving sculptures, designing tattoos, building canoes, and gathering supplies and resources. They hunted one particularly large bird, known as the moa, to extinction.
Be very quiet. We're hunting moa.
The Maori would heat stones in a very hot fire, and then they would place these rocks in a hole in the ground, and place food, such as chicken, mutton, potatoes, and chimera, or sweet potatoes, on top of these rocks to steam them. They would cover the food with leaves and dirt to prevent the food from burning. This process is known as hanga, and takes about 3 hours. Before every battle, the Maori warriors would get together and perform a war chant known as haka. It is said that if the warriors were not in perfect unison, it was a bad omen, and it would be a curse in battle. The Maori were a very hostile group. There was much turmoil amongst the northern and southern tribes. This led to many violent confrontations. The Maori were masters of their surroundings, and were very skilled in the art of ambushing their opponents. The first European explorer to visit the land of the Maori was Abel Tasman in 1642. Although he charted much of the coastline of New Zealand, he was never able to step foot on the land because the hostile Maori drove him away. The first friendly encounter between the Maori and the Europeans was when Captain James Cook, a Dutch navigator, established friendly relations in 1769.
Besides, I'm alright.
The native Maori greeting was known as pauhiri, which involved touching noses. Many of the Maori did not like the Europeans on their land, and they attacked them regularly.
Man, I could really go back to London for some tea.
I just got a really sketchy vibe. Bloody savages! Dirty bugger, still twitching. You will no longer distribute sketchy vibes.
The Europeans traded many things with the Maori. They gave the Maori guns, and in return they were given food, supplies, and knowledge of the land. Because the Europeans traded with the northern tribes first, these tribes were able to raid the southern villages with the help of the musket. The northern tribes stole from these villages and burnt the houses. This marked the start of the musket wars. Many times the Europeans made treaties with certain Maori tribes, although many others still remained hostile.
Oh, did you just bloody fart? Oh my goodness. What stinks?
The Maori's religion changed greatly when the Europeans made contact. Many of the people started to follow Christianity, which was introduced by missionaries.
In the name of the Lord, before you kill your friend. It says here in the Bible, you're not supposed to wrestle your neighbor.
The Treaty of Waitangi was created by the British and was signed by 500 Maori chieftains. This treaty gave the Maori British citizenship, but still respected the Maori land rights. Many British colonists did not follow this treaty.
499.
Who?
500. That's 500, Cornelius.